It's time for another weekly update. Today I want to continue the topic of the possible mandated H1N1 vaccine for the United States population, and you know what, it may end up going around the world before it's all over with. So for those of you outside the U.S., this may also pertain to you. Now, the reason I want to do this video on this topic is because it seems there's still a lot of confusion around the compassionate response, which is not to resist. People just don't get that. And so I'm going to continue doing this and actually start a discussion at the new Neighborhood Council blog at neighborhoodcouncil.blogspot.com on this topic, because this is actually very huge in regards to the whole ascension process and the events playing out between now and 2012 and what we end up seeing in 2012. So it obviously deserves this amount of coverage. So what I want to discuss today was how I kind of got to the perspective of not resisting taking the vaccine, because people, like I said, don't really get that. To know that, to get to that point, you have to have some information that isn't necessarily available to most people, and that is an understanding of history, because the future is history repeated, or the past repeated, and in this case it is our galactic history repeated. For those of you who've read the books We Are the Nibiruans and the sequel, The Mission Remembered, know that there have been other Earth experiments like this one, and in the past they did not make it. They were destroyed, and in each case the reason they were destroyed is because they could not integrate some aspects of the light and dark, which is the sole game for this universe, the integration of light and dark in all of its different aspects. And in this particular second grand experiment, or the second Earth, the issue, what happened is that they decided that the only way to attain peace was to polarize to the light, and what that meant was total unity consciousness. What they didn't understand, and we're now trying to learn in our reality now, is that the dark, that light has a dark side, and dark has a light side, and unity consciousness has a dark side. And that dark side was that they all gave up their individual rights and freedom of choice to attain the sense of safety and security and peace that they were wanting. And when they realized that, that's not what they wanted, it was too late. And their world was so locked into unity consciousness that they couldn't get out. Anybody who stepped out of line was quickly quelled and brought back in alignment. So with that information in mind, what we have here with the possible government enforcement of a vaccination is another opportunity to get it right. It's in many ways a wake-up call, and for starseeds, walk-ins, and light workers in particular, that here's an opportunity for us to forge a new type of government, a new world, and where there's a balance of individual rights still intact, along with the oneness that we're wanting. And in this case, it will be in regards to our health, and we're going to have this choice in every area of society. So with that in mind, when you look at it from that perspective, this really isn't about resisting this. It's about realizing that this is like a huge game, and the government is playing its role to force something on us as a way of saying, remember, this is what happened before. So it's not about resisting this, because that's what we did before, and we ended up destroying our world. It's about realizing that, okay, what we can do is just say thanks but no thanks. And if enough people do that without blaming the government, without making them wrong, without condemning them, and then we can make another step forward in creating the reality we want. Because the reality is, if you stop resisting something, then the threat goes away. So if enough people got it and said, well, it isn't about fighting and resisting, it's about realizing that there's something much more profound going on here. This is an opportunity to forge ahead in creating a new reality. Then this whole threat would go away. But what happens if we don't have enough people do that? Because it only takes 144,000 people making the same decision at the same time to create a different offshoot on the timeline. Then we have to decide whether or not we're going to accept the vaccine or not. I personally will not fight taking the vaccine, because if you fear it, you'll fight it. If you don't fear it, you won't fight it, and you probably won't be affected by it the way you would otherwise. And that's what I'm going to have faith in. I'm going to take that gamble, because I am not going to get outside the system. I'm not going to be pushed outside the system by my resistance, because I know if I'm outside the system, I cannot make a change within the system that I came here to do. And every one of us starseeds, walk-ins, and light workers came here from the future into the past to make a choice, and we can't do it living on the outside. So that's my position once again, and I'm happy to discuss it with you and answer your questions on the blog. And I will look forward to some very scintillating conversations. So I'll talk to you next week and at the new blog. Take care. Bye-bye.